5 days. It's so dumb. It's not a real conversation. That's what makes me so mad about it. The worst part about it is that pretty much everyone that's playing along in this political theater knows it's fake. Does that make sense? I don't know what else to say about it other than it's pure political theater, and everybody knows it's pure political theater, and yet they choose to act out their roles instead. Like, nobody just takes a deep breath and goes, dude, what are we doing? Like, this is all fake. This is nonsense. Like, we're just making this shit up. As an EU chatter, it's just wild that this conversation even happens in Ireland. I don't even know the budget is happening until it's announced and discussed, like, for max 1 day. Yes, because that is how it works everywhere. That is technically how it works in America too. That's the other part. It's just that any kind of obstruction or any kind of hurdle can always be used by the Democratic Party and the Republican Party as though it's like a serious one that we cannot live without, and therefore we have to have like genuine deliberation, genuine back and forth on the matter. When in fact, it's just another technical hurdle that does not need to exist and therefore is very frustrating.
He betrayed the Republican conference, that he betrayed promises that he made to become the speaker, and he could face potential consequences for that. I think that Matt Gaetz has been very clear that he is deeply frustrated with the Speaker of the House, and it's not just Gaetz, there are others as well who have questioned McCarthy's leadership. But
I think the media is wrong for this too. I think the media's coverage of this as though it's like a serious issue. I mean, it is a serious issue if it happens, but like whenever CNN covers this government shutdown as though these are like serious political demands that these never-kevers are making with like genuine ideological differences, like it's just wrong. Like they're lying to you. They know that there is no serious political disagreements here. It's all just theater. And they are allowing this theatrical display to continue by leaning into the seriousness. You know what I mean? They're like, oh yeah, there's like some serious differences. There's some serious disagreements here. It's just very odd. Like, why are you doing that? I feel like you're basically also doing a disservice to the public. Dude, I don't know why people are coming in here asking me why Jamal Bowman pulled the fucking fire alarm. How am I supposed to know? Bitch, I don't know. I've only talked to him a couple times on the phone. And that was years ago when I thought he was like way more progressive than he actually is. Like, he's not my best friend. What the fuck? Senate Democrats have the opportunity to do the funniest thing just for the fuck of it. Obviously, they wouldn't do that because that would destroy them. But just for the fun, just for the funsies, they're just like, yeah, actually, we thought this budget sucks.
If you could, Lauren, for us, quickly, just kind of summarize what this Stop Gap Spending bill is all about. It does allow for money toward natural disasters, but it's without Ukraine assistance. What else?
yeah, this is a 45-day short-term spending bill that funds the government through mid-November. Obviously, this is going to give them a couple of weeks to negotiate a fuller package, but this is where things could get very tricky because House Republicans have outlined to their members a very aggressive schedule that includes voting on individual one-year spending bills that would fund various agencies across the federal government. That schedule and those bills still face long odds in the House, but they are conservative bills that are going to be dead on arrival in the United States Senate.
Hey, Chad, as Hassan talked about his stance on Ukraine spending, don't want to derail the coverage, but I'm curious. I don't think I would spend a dime on Ukraine without conditions. The aid should be conditional, but of course it's never going to be conditional. I don't have an issue with like the aid going to Ukrainian small businesses, in my opinion, but not those kinds of conditions, for the record. Let me clarify. Aid from the United States of America under the auspices of U.S. aid oftentimes have conditions of austerity and conditions of control, not that kind of conditions. Conditional aid, as far as on the weapons side, should revolve around like the obvious boundaries that the American government already sets, like not using it on Russian soil, blah, 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 better tracking measures, but also, with an express purpose of like inevitably ending the war. Why not on Russian soil? I mean, ask the American government. What do you mean, why not on Russian soil? It is a delicate balance of like not upsetting Russia enough, kind of, from the American perspective at least, that they don't consider it to be like an act of war between America and Russia. But they're slowly but surely like, maxing out on the tension side. Aren't they already fighting on soil Russia claims as it is? No. We're talking about like mainland Russia, like straight up fucking like Russia prior to Russian invasion of Ukraine borders Russia. And they kind of fucking drop some munitions on Russian territories from time to time. They do targeted strikes and whatnot. And then they also do like drone strikes every now and then. But the drones and stuff that they drop on Russian soil, especially like deeper into Russian soil, is oftentimes not American shit. But yeah, my perspective on this has always been the same. Like any kind of aid should be given to Ukraine on the ultimate goal of trying to, end this war, end this conflict. Ukrainian territorial gains and W's are good because they're just and they're fair. But those territorial W's should be specifically so that like you can get back to the bargaining table with Russia and create conditions for a ceasefire. Like when Ukraine reclaims his territory, that's not specifically to liberate Ukraine. It's also to show to Russia that like you have better leverage at the bargaining table, right? That's why weapons are necessary in that process. That much I understand. But if the party that is like funding you has no interest in you actually negotiating, then it sucks. You know what I mean? Then it's just like it's never ending war of attrition. Even Zelensky said they want 1991 borders. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Zelensky can say that, but Zelensky's not a fucking idiot. Like he's also literally agreed to different terms before, or at least like politically has openly said he would kick the can back 15 years down the line for a separate referendum. Do you get what I'm saying? It's just posturing. He knows it's posturing. Borger is also correct. Our Georgian correspondent says, yeah, but I also think their expectations were that by now Ukraine would have pushed Russia back further, and meanwhile Russia is digging deeper for a longer war. Yeah, the counteroffensive that was supposed to launch in the spring never fully launched, or it launched, but it never, yielded the results that they wanted it to yield. And now it's just like back and forth shelling. Who's gaining ground in Ukraine this year? No one. Yeah, exactly. That's why whenever I fucking say, dude, it's literally inches of territory, and people get so mad at me, but like, okay, well, the New York Times is saying it too, you know what I mean? And guess what? There is ground that has been taken at this point, you know what I mean? So technically being like, oh, the front line is not moving is a bit of a copium, because like the front line did move into Ukraine by Russians who directly took this line up to this fucking line. So now there's like plenty of back and forth as like all of the Eastern Ukrainian territories are just getting fucking bombed into oblivion. People are doing trench warfare, but technically the territorial gains made by one party is the Russian party. And it fucking sucks. It sucks so bad that they're doing like World War I style trench warfare and just, doing meat grinder shit. Is really fucked up. Both sides started the year with lofty ambitions. Russia wanted to capture the eastern Donbass region, while Ukraine aimed to split Russian forces with an attack in the south. Neither offensive has gone to plan. The front line, after months of grueling combat and heavy casualties, remains largely unchanged. Meanwhile, while this is happening, there's a tremendous human toil here, and you got our politicians going to fucking Kiev and cutting propaganda, being like, we are excited that this war is going on as it's 5%, for only 5% of our military budget and not a single U.S. soldier dying, we've been able to destroy the Russian military and wither it away by 50%. It's like, dude, that's like, there's people dying. You know what I mean? When you talk about it like it's a fucking big business deal, you once again fail to consider that there are fucking Ukrainians getting butchered out there. There's Russian conscripts and shit getting butchered out there too. It's nuts that Americans are so fucking callous in their indifference when talking about these sorts of things. It's just, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's got blowback written all over it. This ad for Crimeans to sign the contract for joining the Russian army shows a Russian soldier and an alleged Ukraine prisoner of war. They are playing the word game in the ad. The slogan says, we return the names to our cities. Disgusting, cynical. How would you describe the ad? Wait, what?
Новороссийск. Тебе на К.
Киев.
Волгоград.
Днепр.
Нет такого города.
This is insane, bro. This is like, why are they cutting Hollywood budget terrorism videos, dude? What the fuck? This is an insane fucking first of all, it's copium. Like, yeah, Russia ain't doing any of that shit, okay? Good luck, motherfucker. I mean, what are you talking about? The reality of this is, yes, it doesn't look good for Ukraine, but it certainly doesn't look good for Russia either. You can talk a big game all you want and act like, you're taking over, but like, motherfucker, this ain't Crimea. You know what I mean? You didn't like roll over and have the public go, okay, a referendum at gunpoint, certainly, but it's a little different than the zero casualty Crimean takeover, okay? It's ridiculous. They haven't been able to push past this line.